should we say welcome back? Because I'm back. Wasn't quite 3 weeks, you guys. Was not quite 3 weeks. But the wild thing is, like, guess what? I haven't even been home a week yet. Forgive me for trying to collect myself, but let me tell you, the dot is back. She's thriving. She's tanned. She's actually talking in third person a lot lately, and I don't even know why. So what have I missed? What's the goss? What's the 411? I feel like even though I was away, everyone was super communicative, and it was so funny because even though there was a time difference, let me tell you, Waikiki time difference to the Southern Hemisphere, or Honolulu or Hawaii, whatever you want to say, it was a lot. Not only was I like 12 hours ahead, but also like 18 hours behind. Oh my gosh, where do I even begin? This trip is a lot to unpack, and I feel the pressure has been like mounting. It was only this morning that I caught up with a friend, and she was like, when is the pod dropping? Well, girl, it's today. It's today. Listen, I don't know. I feel like this is a 2 or 3 episode thing, but I don't want to drag it out and be like wishy-washy like it was the best bloody vacation ever. But I'm not going to lie. It was fucking on point. And let me like start by even saying that this pod might not even directly be the Hawaii landing pod. It's still going to be like the lead up, because the lead up was definitely as important as the trip. There was a lot of components happening, and don't forget, I had 3 days in Sydney before I even went to Hawaii. So I guess the big question here is, how did the 75 hard end? And there's she's a calculated little tart is what I'm going to tell you. I definitely don't do things by halves, and I want to let you guys know how it all ended. It was quite phenomenal, and a weight off my shoulders. I I kind of expressed that I wanted to do something with a bang, because for a while there near the end I was kind of just like dragging my feet. Life was just going full speed. I was ticking all the boxes. It was just such a ride, and I was so happy and content and joyous with myself. It was just the most amazing feeling ever. So the Thursday before, I think the Friday that it happened and it ended, I said to a couple of people at the local gym that I've been going to, Central Fitness in Cromwell, I think I want to attend a group class. And it was kind of like this real turning of corner moment, because even though I started this challenge with a knee injury that was recovering from surgery, I didn't feel like I could actually keep up with the people that would be attending this class. They've been doing it for years. I've been seeing them every Friday morning for, the better part of 3 years, I reckon. And then the same people turn up and they still put 100% in. And I said, I don't want to let anyone down, because I'm going to, not be completely 100% what I'm doing, like they're already in their routine. I don't want to disrupt anything. And the support to join that class was crazy. And I thought, you know what, I'm setting the alarm clock. It's going to be I think I had to be there at 6 a.m. So I got up at like 5:15, 5:30. And I attended this fast-paced, paired-up class for fitness, and they just no one really knew that I was doing the 75 hard. They kind of were cottoning on as we were going, because they were like, come on, Dani, you can do it. And I was just dying, you guys. Like, there's nothing more thrilling than group fitness, I tell you. It's the support. There's something behind it. I don't even know. Anyway, we finished the class, and we had this big debrief, like, what is even going to be the course of the day? I don't even know. There was an offer to jump in the lake and finish it with a cold plunge. I was like, my brain is not functioning. Like, it's -3 outside. It's gloomy. It's misty. It's dark. Let's do this. So once I came home, it was kind of still very early. Mum and me had this brilliant breakfast together. She went off to work. I jumped in the shower. I actually tried to thaw out. I was freezing cold, you guys, not even a word of a lie. And I sat in my bed with a cup of tea and I deleted some negative energy off my social media. And I'm such a big person about, getting rid of what doesn't serve you. So no better way to end the challenge than to get rid of the fluff that really didn't belong anymore. And I needed to have this free breather. More to the point, there was a couple of things that I was like not happy with, and I didn't want people to see the transition, like the before and after of the 75, because it was hella important to me. And those people that were able to see that, they actually were there the whole way, support wise. There wasn't anyone on my social media that didn't reach out. There were people coming out of the woodwork. So collectively across Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat, I got rid of 16 people off each. And it was the same 16 people that had bothered me for like many months now. So it was this instant weight off my shoulders. I messaged my bestie. I was like, you'll never guess, this is what I've done. And I posted my transition reel, which was like, here's the before and after. Oh, it's kind of like when I launched the podcast, the phone battery just went. There was just a lot of support and a lot of, messages, phone calls. Can't believe you did this. What's your next steps? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, I haven't really told anyone this, but I'm actually getting on a plane to Sydney to go to Hawaii. Like, it was a whole thing that I didn't really share. So anyway, I went about my day. It was the most joyous thing. I had just the best time. And then that afternoon, I had my fabulous neighbour, who's also my very dear friend, come over with her husband and my mum, and we had some pre-drinks at my house. And then I went to Stoker Room, which was my choice for dinner. I had the mac and cheese. That was the one thing that was on my mind, macaroni and cheese. The Stoker one is like next level because they put pork belly on it. It's like a whole thing. Everyone had said, oh, she's going to be a lightweight. Well, I had 2 glasses of wine and I was already like tingling. I was like, oh, she's feeling fluffy, fuzzy. Went to the local Five Stags, which is average at best, had a cocktail, still not really vibing it. I'm like, I didn't miss this side of having a couple of drinks. Went to the Victoria Arms, mostly just to catch the courtesy coach home. And there was a very dear friend of mine from high school there, which just kind of turned the course of everything, I suppose. I didn't have a really rowdy Friday night just because that flight to Sydney was 12:30 the next day and I had to get myself organised. There was not 1 second ounce of what happened on Friday that I was not impressed with. I just had such a fun, joyful time. And I mean, it was kind of like the bell all and end all. She's done this challenge, had all the support. She's getting on the plane. She's going to Sydney. She's off on an adventure. I already knew on the Saturday when I was like zipping up my suitcase that I had overpacked, but I have, in the past definitely underpacked. So I said to Mum, does this feel heavy to you? And she was like, yeah, but 20 kilos, that's a lot. And I already knew that I had 23 from Queenstown to Sydney. However, Jetstar shits you, they do 20 kilos from Sydney to Honolulu. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm already well over and I'm not taking anything out. Like, I've planned for this for freaking 6 months. Like, it's got the best outfits in it. I'm so excited and thrilled to be wearing it. Who cares? Get to the airport, get on the plane. It snowed. It snowed that Saturday pretty hectically to the point where they had to de-ice the plane as I'm sitting on the aircraft. I'm thinking, I don't even care anymore if there's turbulence. Turbulence is a thing of the past with me, like my fear of it. There were so many things that happened when I was flying back from Auckland, the time that I hated the flight itself. But now I'm just this like strong, independent woman that's like, yes, girl, gonna go travel. Hashtag catch flights, not feelings. But no, I didn't even care that there might have been some turbulence, and not a word of a lie, that flight was the smoothest trip out of Queenstown. And we even took off at the other end of the runway, which I'm not familiar with. We did catch a little bit of a wriggle sort of somewhere out over the ocean as it goes, but it wasn't climbing out of Queenstown, which is my pet hate. I will literally just kick everyone because I hate that shit. But this really lovely guy I was sitting next to, he was pouring his wine into his wine glass and we had a little bit of a wriggle. And he just looked at me and he says, "Oh, fuck it." And he just starts drinking from the bottle. And I was like, this is just perfect. Exactly how I wanted it to be. I watched Aquaman, the new movie with Jason Momoa, and that really fun movie with Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell. I forget the name of it, but it was just really like humble. And I knew that like flying into Sydney was going to be great because yes, I had previously lived there. Yes, I hate the city itself. However, it was kind of like going back in time because I did leave in 2014. I say 2014, but I feel like it was 2015. Anyway, that was still like, 10 years ago. And I had to go back and, retrace my steps. And Sydney's the weirdest, fast-paced city I've ever been in my life. Even landing there and getting out of the airport into the vehicles to be at the hotel and everything, I lost my bearings. Yeah, I was like, I don't even know where I am. We could have ended up halfway down to I don't even know where half these places are outside of Sydney, to be quite fair. I've blanked them out of my mind. But I wouldn't know because honestly, I was paying attention, but I lost my directions bearings. Like it was a whole thing. Checking into the hotel itself, though, me and my travel buddy, she was flying in the next day. She made a really great choice with the central location of this hotel. It was the weirdest thing, though, because there were people definitely living in this hotel, but I was like, it's quite nice and fancy. And I feel like it sort of like set the tone for the rest of the trip. Like just nothing's going to go wrong. We're just going to have the best time, blah, blah, blah. That night itself was quite fun. I went out for a couple of drinks and had a really great meal. Nothing really, untoward happened. I was just excited for the next day because that was my actual 37th birthday on the Sunday, the 19th of May. And my travel buddy was flying in about 2:00. So I knew that I had a couple of hours in the morning to get some things done. And I was just going to go wandering. There's nothing more empowering when you travel than like getting an iced coffee and just going for a walk. I don't know. So the funnest thing was like, when you live and you think that you're going to get your steps in your normal average day, and then you actually go traveling and then the steps comes naturally. I was ticking like 20,000 steps before 1 p.m. Just wandering around Sydney, just do. But I had a few things I wanted to do, and one of which was to go to the biggest store in the Southern Hemisphere, Mecca Makeup. And I don't know, it's overwhelming at best when you come into these places where there's like professional makeup artists that I feel like they judge you. They don't, but I feel like they do because I don't wear makeup at the best of times, let alone like a full face of thick makeup. Like some of them know how to apply. And I don't know. I just met this little wee freckle. She was so fun. And I said to her, it's my 37th birthday today. I'm in the market for a new perfume. If you know, you know, I'm a huge fragrance fan, and I don't even know why I reached for this one perfume, but it was called Mango Juice. And you guys, $425 a bottle. I sprayed it on myself. It was like I was submerged in a mango, and I was thinking, is it weird that I normally reach for a sandalwood fragrance and here I am holding like this fruit? Anyway, she gave me 2 vials of it, and she was like, maybe once you're on your travels, you can come across it, not, necessarily in duty free or cheaper or whatever, but just know that even though you're going to Hawaii, mango could be the smell of your trip. And I was like, oh, okay. It was the whole friggin' trip. Isn't that just the craziest thing to think? But yeah, she really treated me to that, and she helped me with a lot of things. And just because it was my birthday and I was in Australia, even though she knew that I had a Mecca account in New Zealand, she was still super thoughtful and considerate and just like helping me with a few bits and pieces. I did purchase some things in the Mecca store, but I just thought, wow, what a really neat person. She didn't judge me. She just, helped me. It was fine. But no, I went and got my free muffin from Muffin Break, because if you are on the email list, they give you a free birthday muffin. It was super cute. And I came across this really random bottle store, which you buy a cup of ice and you can also buy like a cocktail, but you make it. And they've got all these, what do you call them? Fridges where they've got all the single shots of all these different things and all these mixes. It was kind of weird because I don't know why I did it, but I mixed vodka with sake. I know. I was a little bit tiddly and I stopped myself and I thought, shit, Dani, God, be careful. You haven't drunk for 75 bloody days, and in the space of like 48 hours, you've just been living your best life. It was $15 and it was quite close to Barangaroo, so I can never pronounce it, but this beautiful big casino thing. And I was just floating around Sydney. I took a wrong turn. No, actually, before I came across that liquor store, I was thinking about public transport and I was like, wouldn't it be fun if I like had one of those Opal card thingies to get around the city on public transport? But I know from other cities you have to pay for the card and then put like a deposit on like, I don't know, $10 or whatever, and the card's $5. I was like, I can't be bothered with owning a card for this trip. So I'm just dawdling around and I look down at the ground and there's an Opal card at my feet. And I was like, oh, and so I picked it up, walked to the nearest like little tram station, tapped it on the machine. It had $26 on it. You guys, it had $26 on it. I was like, okay. Then I came across the liquor store with the cup of ice cocktail thing. Then I just, was a little bit floaty and I fell into the fact that, oh, wouldn't it be funny to like get on one of these boats and go under the harbour bridge? So I did. Nothing ever makes sense when I travel. And it was such a cool thing. Like, I do remember being on the harbour way back in the day, but there's something so grand about the Sydney Harbour Bridge. You can't deny it's so cool. And like, to take a photo of it speaks volumes when you sail under the damn thing. And I said to the captain of the boat thinking, where does this go? He was like, you've just got on this boat, haven't you? I says, mate, I could be in like Bondi. I could end up like, maybe it doesn't go to Bondi because that's the ocean. Oh, I don't know. I'm confused. But I was thinking, if I end up like Northern Beaches, that wouldn't be the worst thing. However, we've got to remind ourselves Mel's still arriving at 2:00 and you've got to get back to the hotel and make yourself all ready for the fact that we're about to go out and have cocktails and a birthday dinner. So no, it's all good. I got off the damn boat. Don't know where I was, but I found a Burger King, otherwise known as Hungry Jack's. Got myself the dirtiest bacon burger ever. Tried to sober up after my one cocktail. And toddled on back to the hotel, which, I'm not going to lie, was quite far from where I was. I was exhausted. I was like, I need a wet wipe and a vitamin C tablet because your girl is tired. Anyway, Mel landed. She got herself to the hotel. It was all exciting. Checked in, caught up. Had like we didn't even do anything in the hotel. Like, we didn't drink. We didn't, have snacks or anything. We just got ready and went out and found this random bar that was doing happy hour. We had, a big D&M catch up because she's in this relationship. I was doing what I was doing. And it was like, even though we saw each other in February, so much had happened. She did the 75 hard as well. And I was thinking, oh, gosh, it's just going to be like we're going to catch up this one first day in Sydney and then not have anything to talk about for the whole trip. But it wasn't the case. I was drinking Long Island iced teas. Again, why? Why am I doing this? It had like 5 spirits in it. Why was I... I'm a wrecking ball. I find like the most exciting drinks have like more than 3 spirits in it and I just gravitate towards them. I get the shits when something's like $14, $15 and it's like a vodka, I don't even know, like a Moscow Mule. Is that like vodka and ginger beer, but it's fancy with something else? I don't know. So she actually kept the restaurant a surprise because she had like a million people recommending different things in Sydney. And I said, I don't want to know. I don't want to know what I'm doing for my birthday dinner. Like, this is something that you want to do. I'm all for it. But I was trying to think outside the box when we got to the venue because we were in the dark. It was in this really quaint wee area of Sydney. Couldn't even tell you where I was. We've just walked up 75 stairs to get to the damn place. And the guy hands me a menu, and I'm telling you, the food was crazy. It was off the chain. The one thing that I actually ordered, not a word of a lie, was squid ink pasta. I mean, it came out and it was purple. And I was like, why am I doing this? I suppose when I have birthdays, I definitely just like want to clear everything off the slate and just start afresh. I'm like, you know, you want to eat new things, you want to try new things, you want to explore, be adventurous, blah, blah, blah. Squid ink was the pinnacle. I don't know why I did it. It was nice. The actual fettuccine itself was kind of curly. It had like a ruffle to the edge, so actually swallowing it reminded me of like calamari, but it wasn't. It was pasta. It had like prawns on it with baby tomatoes and this really delicious sauce. 100%, 10 out of 10, loved it. I was just like, of everything that was in that venue that I could have eaten, why did I order that? But no, I was trying to be adventurous. Moving back to the hotel, we knew that we had a full day in Sydney the next day, more or less, and we had to do a few things just before we got on that flight to Honolulu. So we had a bit of an early night. Well, I say early, but the both of us had done 75 hard, so didn't take much alcohol before we had to really go to bed. The next day was kind of fun because we went to this random place called Market City. I can't say I've ever really been in there. It's quite a big part of like Chinatown, I reckon, in Sydney CBD. And I was looking for a pair of pants that would be non-restrictive for the flight because I do have circulation issues with my right leg. So I already had kind of a partial outfit. I was just looking for some really like baggy pants. And I'm in Cotton On and I've got this massive sale on and it's like everything's $5-10. Like it's crazy. And I'm thinking, far out, why am I here when I have to go to like Hawaii? I could be like sending boxes of like clothes back home. And for some strange reason, the stuff in that Cotton On went up to like 5XL. I've never seen a Cotton On that went that far in the other direction. It was off the chain and I just could have been in that shop for ages. I found a pair of magic pants. If you have seen the movie Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, the pants that fit everyone, you know, it's so good when you find something that genuinely fits. And I was thrilled. It had this $30 price tag on it. They're called Haven, these linen pants. They're so cute. And I was ecstatic. I was like, these are magic pants. They're not supposed to fit, but holy shit, they do. And they come far above my belly button, like they're fitted pants. And they drop straight to the floor. Like I was just beaming. These are my pants. I get to the counter and the woman starts freaking out. And I'm like, what is going on? Do you want to like inform me as to why you're like losing the plot? And she's like, the staff here have incorrectly priced these pants and I can't honor this $30 price tag. And I said, well, that's fine. Are they like $40? And she says, no, they're $50. I'm like, I love the pants, but I don't need to pay $50 for the pants. I paid $50 for the pants. I knew that even though that was the case and the lady was like really pissed at her staff, I knew that if I took it up with Cotton On head office that they'd honour it. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later they did. They sent me a full-blown credit and apologised for the fact that they didn't from their Market City store. So kudos to them. At the time though, I was just like, ugh. When you think you've found like your thing and you can't like fathom it being any other price, it's the worst. So we were all set. We were checking out of our Sydney hotel. We were on our way to the airport. Everything was all exciting. I'm thinking, shit, my suitcase is definitely past 20 kilos at this stage. Like, I don't think I've brought anything. I just think that I've unpacked in Sydney and now it's like not fitting properly in the suitcase. But I think I was probably 24 point something kilos. So not quite 25, but still I had to pay the additional luggage, which wasn't a problem. At that stage, it was non-negotiable. I was like, I'm taking this stuff to Hawaii. The actual time, I don't spend a lot of time at Sydney International, but holy shit, you guys, if you're ever traveling and you have a layover, don't be upset about it. Sydney International is like second on my list of my favorite airports. It's big, it's fancy, everything's clean. I was wandering around actually I had a beer, so I was probably going to buy something I shouldn't. But Sydney International has my heart. They just have the most amazing variety of stuff, and I just found myself really caught up. More to the point, I was kind of a little bit anxious about this impending 8.5, 9-hour flight coming up, and I was trying to distract myself with like pretty things. But we decided to like wander to the terminal because I was thinking, oh, we've still got like an hour and a half, everything's fine. Might even get some Maccas, like this is going to be a whole trip. No, get to the gate. I'm on the phone to my mum, my brother, my best mate, like final goodbyes, just waiting for them to let us through. And then all of a sudden we're all on board and we're closing the door and it's like, it's leaving on time. But I mean, that moment of like an hour went so fast. Probably the worst part about it was not intentional. However, when we checked in with the Jetstar luggage, we asked the chickie behind the counter if there could be a seat between me and Mel so that we could stretch out a little bit. We've both got circulation issues. And she confirmed that that was the case. Me and Mel didn't check our flight tickets until we were getting to the plane. And it was funny because I think it was like row 26D or something. And anyway, she had D, I had E. And I was standing there and I was like, this chick doesn't know the alphabet because shouldn't it go D blank F? Like D, E, F, E's the blank seat. Why am I in E? If I'm in the middle seat for 9 hours, I'm going to like fully go loco. So as we're getting on the aircraft, I pulled the like head lady aside and I was like, listen, the chick at the counter, she assured us this would be the case and that's not the case with these tickets. And then she looks at this little map and she's like, no, she's blanked out the middle seat. You guys are just sitting here, like literally at the front of the plane, after business class, and everything's fine. And I was like, why were we, like, I wasn't worried, but I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do 9 hours crammed in the middle. So everything was fine. Just to the right of me, I had this helicopter mother who was crazy. She had these two daughters who were like 14 and 16. And a husband that was in business. I don't know, they got to the plane, the daughter had a nut allergy, so she was wiping all these surfaces like frantically, like, someone on the plane's going to kill her daughter with the peanuts or something, which I get. There's a massive level of like, heightened sense of security. But the dad, he went into the toilet and he came out in like his pajamas with like grey sweatpants on, and I was like, holy shit, mate, your fucking junk's right next to my shoulder. Because he went to put something in the overhead locker above my head and I was like, ugh! That comes anywhere closer to me, I'm going to fucking elbow it. But yeah, the mother was like, she didn't stay in her seat, mate. The whole flight, she was up and down, up and down, up and down. She was tucking her daughters in. They were top and tailing. I was like, this woman just does not sit still. And quite frankly, the family themselves were quite beautiful. I was admiring just how stunning they were. And we were just, watching them like, oh, wonder if we'll see them in Honolulu, rah-de-rah. In front of us was a mum with 4 children under 4 and a baby hanging off the bassinet off the wall. Like it was a whole thing. And I was like, this is crazy. That poor woman has that many kids and she's managing it all by herself. Like Mel had even gotten up a few times and helped her with a couple of bags because this chick was quite short. I was just like, I would never. I don't even know how people travel with 1 child, let alone 4. Halfway through the flight, a guy comes from, I don't even know, randomly unaware of what's going on. I look over and there's this guy holding one of her babies and I'm like, oh, that's sweet. He's like, making it go to sleep. No. He then put the baby back in the bassinet and then he left and I was like, well, where did he go? I thought he was like maybe a cousin or a friend or something. Anyway, the flight itself, I mean, I hate turbulence, but that bloody bird did not feel anything. It was phenomenal. I enjoyed my lasagna. I caught up with like a couple of TV shows. I slept. It was easy. It was fine. We get into Honolulu. If you guys have not been there before, the airport's outside. It's like crazily open. Like if it rains, I don't know what happens because there's just a lot of open spaces. We come out of the plane super fast. We get checked through super quick. We get to the baggage. The belt's broken. The bags aren't coming. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 5 a.m. None of us have like had any decent sleep. We're all like hot, grouchy, don't know how to get to the hotel, blah, blah, blah. And lo and behold, I look over and Mel, she absolutely confirmed this as well. Not only was the guy that held the baby the dad, but the mum and dad were in business class. The nanny was in cattle class with us with the 4 kids, and the grandparents were sitting behind us. So I was like, oh my God, no. Like the grandparents weren't even in business class. The nanny, like she was standing in baggage holding all the kids, and just the parents were like, I don't even know. I think they got like a concierge or a limo or something to usher them all to their destination. But that's wild. But people actually travel like that. It was all sort of very much exciting, and I laugh at all these little components because I'm like, it absolutely made the trip. Like I was so ready to be on holiday. Nothing fazed me, but everything was entertaining. Everything. The best part about arriving is you don't know what to do next. And we got outside the airport and we sat on this like cement block. And I was like, oh, you can't take the bus from the airport to Waikiki because that's banned. It's only for workers that live in Waikiki and work at the airport, like their actual bus. So we had to Uber. And I was like, that's fine. I don't Uber very much. I live in Cromwell. We don't even have taxis. Well, we might now. I don't know. And it cracked me up because I got so excited. And I do this everywhere. If anyone orders an Uber, I'm like in the front seat because I'm like, I want to see all the buttons because I don't see flash cars. You guys, an Escalade picked us up. If you don't know what an Escalade is, Google it. It is like this fly as shit, black friggin' 4-wheel drive with leather seats, full-blown coldest air conditioning. I mean, the friggin' seats had armrests, like full-blown. You were in your own like airplane chair. It was crazy. And I was so thrilled. I was like, oh my God. And I'm one of those people that's really chatty. So the poor guy in the front, I was that had the best flight, blah, blah, blah. The funny thing was throughout the whole trip, everyone said to us, oh, where are you from? Mel was like, I'm from Australia. She's from New Zealand. And every single time, it's like I didn't want to say I was from Australia and she didn't want to say she was from New Zealand, but we actually had to say you actually have one of each in the car right now. And we had rugby jokes. We had like so much just banter about Kiwis, and the most heartwarming thing was actually how much people related Kiwis to Polynesians, and the Hawaiians just love Kiwis. I felt more at home. It was just such a relief, I suppose, because there's nothing worse than going to a foreign country and everything's just difficult because you're not necessarily hated. I don't look at myself as a Kiwi and Aussie and think, oh, I'm hated because of the All Blacks, but it was just easy. Everyone had a laugh. There was lots of banter and things to be talked about. Hawaiians know Kiwis. It's such a cool experience. Once we actually got to the hotel itself, though, things sort of took a little bit of a turn. Not intentionally, but if you're like me, I actually organised hotels probably like 9 months prior to the holiday itself. I had an expensive hotel booked, a middle kind of ranged priced one, and like a poor person's one, more or less like a hostel. If we want to spend money, we'll stay here. And this was far before I even got into like having a side hustle or anything like that. So as we got closer to the actual trip itself, I cancelled all 3 bookings. Just on booking.com, you actually can book things without paying anything and just hold them until you make any decision. So it wasn't a big deal. We just came across a better deal directly through one of the hotels, which was the more expensive one in my booking.com allocation. And we decided to go through them directly. Mel took control over everything because, quite frankly, I'm not allowed to book hotels. I get things wrong and all of a sudden we end up with locked bloody sofa beds and shit like that, which was fine. I sent her my half of the hotel room like 10 days prior to us leaving. It was quite a scary experience. There's nothing worse than sending a shitload of money via like international transfer. It was frightening. So we get to the hotel and I'm like, everything's all fine. We're just going to get the key, pay the other half, which Mel will pay because we were told we were going to pay, a chunk as a deposit. They then fling us with the fact that we have to pay $500 US as a room deposit for damages. And $500 US with our currency exchange right now is a lot. Like I think it's like $1,300, $1,400. Like maybe it's like $900. I don't know. And I think it was just the shock of it all because, you don't get told that in the fine print. Like, I don't know, maybe we just saw this whole thing as like, oh, the hotel's at a cheaper price. They're waiving their resort fees. We'll just book it. There's nothing worse than getting there and being like, you have to pay this, this, and this. Like, I hate it. It's like bill shock. Fuck off. I don't want to know. We've like just got off like 10 hours of being in the air. And now you're saying we need to pay this. So put a bit of a damper on things, but I just knew that, quite frankly, we were tired and hungry. So I was like, okay, we'll pay it. Mel paid it. I didn't even comprehend what was happening at the time until we took a step back from the whole scenario and just thought, well, we really want to stay here. We have to. We threw our like suitcases at the porter, and that's when I thought, oh, here we go. We're going to have to start tipping people because they're going to hold the suitcases, blah, blah, blah. And we'll go for a wander and try and find breakfast. It's like fanging hot, like 29 degrees, like humidity. I've come from the snow. Like, I'm like, what is going on? So we find this terrible, terrible restaurant. Do not recommend. 1 out of 10. Hated it. IHOP. IHOP is like the poor version of Denny's or Cobb & Co. And it's just like a whole bunch of things on the menu, super cheap. You're going to get fed. It's fast. It's all good. So she orders the pancakes with this weird fountain. They call it fountain, but it's just like Coke off the Coke machine. I made the biggest mistake and ordered a chicken burger that was served on a scone. Most likely it was a scone. I don't know if you've had like scones with jam and cream. This was like a savory scone as the burger bun itself. I was horrified. I couldn't eat it. I was feeling sick. It came with like gravy and mashed potato. I was freaking out. But when we went to pay, there's this whole thing in America. I don't know if everyone's all familiar with this whole tipping system, but what you pay and what you see on the bill, that's two different things. So we were like, okay, that's cool. We're finishing up. Can we have the bill? She goes and gets it. And when you have one server per table, you have to go back through that server. Like no one else in the restaurant can help you pay for that bill. It has to come from that person that served you. So we gave our cards and stuff. And anyway, I hadn't activated mine. Mine actually had to go into a Hawaiian ATM to activate. So we tried it 3 times. By this stage, she's losing the plot. And quite frankly, when they take your card, they're only pre-authorizing it because then they give you back a receipt where you're supposed to write how much tip they're worth. And the first time you go into a situation where you have to tip, you're always going to get it wrong. You don't know. You don't know what 20% of something is. You don't know how much, 18% is. For some cultures, it's quite natural. For us, it wasn't. Anyway, by the 3rd time, my card's declining and I can't, get anything paid. And I'm like trying to activate it through this app on my phone. She gets the shits and like completely wipes the tip off the whole bill. She's like, she's over it. She's done. She's had to come back to the till thing 3 times. She's trying to, make a buck. It's terrible. I'm feeling terribly guilty at this stage, but I'm also like, holy shit, what have I just eaten? That is horrifying. So Mel pays it. We find an ATM. I withdraw the money and give it to Mel. And it's like, okay, well, that wasn't the best first experience. We're not having the best of luck here. The only exciting thing was the freaking car ride from the airport to the accommodation. But no, it was kind of cool. We went to a convenience store. We got a couple of waters and a few bits and pieces. I found this bag of chips that had 4 different types of chips in the one bag. Like I'm talking, you got your Chex Mix, your pretzels, your grain waves, and your Doritos all in the same bag. And it was like, God, yes, this is what I want. We're back in the foyer of the hotel and waiting for check-in because we're kind of like 6 hours too early. And I just said to Mel off the chain, like, do you want to go and ask them if we can get into our hotel room a smidge early and see if it's available? So she toddles on up to the reception and I'm thinking, oh my God, what could possibly happen that would be 10 times worse than what happened when we checked in? It wasn't worse. It was fucking phenomenal. We were apparently waiting for a room to be cleaned and ready on level 10. They gave us level 22. So I'm already like ecstatic. Like I don't even care what the view is at this stage. It's going to be great. We're up high. I've got a balcony. We can like chill. It's going to be phenomenal. It like exceeded expectations, like 4.5, 5 stars. I am obsessed with Alawahani Hotel in Waikiki Beach. Stunning. I was just, so content and happy. We got to the hotel, unpacked, got ready to go for a bit of a like trip to the pool. I'd read somewhere that you weren't supposed to take outside drinks to the pool. So I smuggled in a couple of cans of Malibu and pineapple. And I was just pouring it into something I had. It was the hotel room coffee cup. Yeah, that's right. I did that. So I was sitting up on this lounger thing, just admiring this stunning beach view and the pool. And the best thing after travel, in my opinion, is getting your head underwater. It does something to jet lag. It's amazing. So I was just swimming around the water. However, the fake tan had worn off from the couple of days prior. I mean, I'm pretty sure I was the palest like person in that swimming area. But like I said to Mel, at the end of the day, when you go to a destination, you start tanning, you have to get yourself out there and put your skin on display. Like it's going to be god awful because you're so pale, but you have to do it. So I didn't care. And the fact is, I was like, I'm never going to see these people again. Why was I thinking that? Like, of course I was. I was staying at this resort for 10 days. Anyway, Mel toddled on back to the room because she was overwhelmed with the heat and the jet lag was kind of catching up to her and she just wanted to be in the aircon watching TV for a bit. And I was like, yeah, girl, you go up to the room. All good. I'll hang back here. You can probably see me from the balcony. I got a little bit drunk down by the pool. And I come back to the room and I said to her, let's go to Walmart. What could go wrong? We'll just go to Walmart, the biggest supermarket chain that we know of, and we'll just go and get some supplies, like some decent room supplies. I'm talking snacks, chips, chocolate, like coffee, actual decent milk that's not this weird half shit or 2%. I don't even know what that is. And like we'll buy some room alcohol because we didn't even pass through duty free. So I'm like ecstatic. We're going to go to Walmart. Took a bus. I paid too much on the bus because I didn't know what anything was. At this stage, when you travel with me, money is monopoly money. I don't know what anything means. We get to Walmart. I'm telling you guys, I mean, I'm going to start wrapping this up here as my first part 1 of 3 of this adventure, but what you see happens at Walmart, 100% happens at Walmart. I can't even, like, fabricate this anymore. Like, it's, people wear weird shit. People don't wear shit. They have to, like, fully lock up their alcohol. There was so many people that were homeless outside Walmart asking for money, and here I was living my best life, shopping like a lunatic, getting super excited about the most craziest food that I've only ever like seen on TV. I left that store with a big bag of shopping. I mean, I had licorice Twizzlers, I had Smirnoff, I had like 4 varieties of Pringles, Mike and Ike's, which are these delicious fruit lollies, Nothing really substantial, I'd say, but I also had all the things that I couldn't pack, like shampoo, conditioner, just weird stuff that you just like, who cares? We'll get it from the location, then we'll like leave it in the hotel, blah, blah, blah. And we get to go outside, and this most amazing vehicle picked us up, and it had it was a Jeep Wrangler, but he'd only just put the doors on it, and he was like, oh, I can take the doors off if you want. And I was like, Mel, pay him $10 and we'll take the doors off. It was one of those like really cool vehicles with the detachable roof and the doors. So I was like, just, you know, day one, we just had the best, you know, couple of days in Sydney. Getting to Hawaii, there was like this huge relief to finally be safely arriving without any altercations because of me and my fear of turbulence, or me and my leg. It was just happy, healthy Dani, absolutely thriving. What possibly could happen in the next 10 days in this beautiful location? It's, yeah, I look back now and I'm like, whoa, these were only little things that led up to us even getting to where I was like excited to be. And it all just makes me feel so good because, yeah, as I tell you more about what happened in Hawaii, I don't even care about like what goes on tour stays on tour. No, I'm going to share, and it is going to blow your mind. Anyway, I will wrap it up here. We will come back for part number 2, where I really dig deep into the Hawaiian culture. Anyway, hope you all had a great 3-week hiatus without me. Haven't missed me too much. However, I will be back in a week's time for more. Bye now.